Welcome to the Getting Through Today podcast. I'm Brita. Come along with me as I share my story of the ups and downs through chronic illness and depression, all while being a mother of 5. I know healing is possible, and through every phase there is beauty, even if we don't always see it at the time. I know what it feels like to just get through one day at a time. Let's get started. Hey, beautiful warriors, welcome back. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And if you've been here before, you know that this podcast is about real life, the beautiful, the messy, and the lessons we learn along the way. This last weekend, I went to an energy healing conference where I had the opportunity to connect with some of the most inspiring people. I got to share my story, and I got to be one of the speakers and introduce people to the work I do with hypnotherapy, subconscious healing, Psych K, and mind-body wellness. If you've ever been to a conference like this, you know what I mean when I say the energy was amazing. It's such a beautiful thing when you're surrounded by people who are all seeking healing, growth, and transformation. There were so many great conversations, and it reminded me how powerful it is to be in a space where people just get it. It was so refreshing to be around people who understood what I had gone through and to be able to connect with these people, letting them know that I had been there and I am doing well right now. But the thing is, it still was hard on my body. I'm doing really well, but when I got home, guess what? I crashed so hard. I want to be real about this because I think we sometimes look at the highlight reels online, the exciting events, the inspiring moments, and we forget that behind the scenes, healing isn't always glamorous. And even if we have some really great days, it doesn't mean that every day is a great day. For those of us who live with chronic illness or mental health challenges, we know this all too well. No matter how much I love what I do, my body still has limits. And when I push past them, I feel it. I woke up the day after the conference and felt like I had zero energy, which I wasn't expecting. Every muscle ached, my brain even felt foggy, and I could feel the emotional exhaustion creeping in. I had been feeling so good. I really didn't expect to feel like this. But that's when some guilt started to creep in. I felt like maybe I should be getting more done. Luckily, it was Sunday when I woke up feeling tired. I did wake up, I went to church, but then I came home and I felt like I needed to follow up with people I met at the conference, or I should have been more productive, or I should be doing more for my family or with my family. But you know what I did instead? I laid down and took a 3-hour nap. And it was amazing. But here's something I'm learning. Rest is not a reward, it's a necessity. If I don't take care of myself, if I don't listen to my body when it's asking me to slow down, I end up in a cycle of burnout, resentment, and then deeper exhaustion. So I made a choice. Instead of pushing through and getting all the things done on my list, I just let myself rest. And I want to say this again for anyone else who struggles with this. You do not have to earn rest. You are allowed to pause. Because healing isn't just about the breakthroughs. It's also about the small, quiet moments when we listen to our bodies and give ourselves grace. One of the things I did this week that felt like a huge win was doing some meal prepping with my daughter, Taylor. Now, let me be completely honest, meal prep isn't always my thing. I used to do it more when my kids were younger, and I haven't done it in a long time. but I know it's so good for me. I know it's so good for my family, and I know it makes life easier. But it often feels like just one more thing on the long list of things I should do. But here's what I've realized. The way we fuel our bodies directly impacts the way we feel, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I've noticed that when I don't plan ahead, I end up skipping meals, eating whatever is fast and convenient, even if it doesn't make me feel great, and also feeling sluggish and low energy later. So Taylor and I decided to keep it simple. We didn't go overboard and we didn't make it complicated. We just prepped some easy lunches for the week so that when things get busy, we don't have to think about it. It was some rice and some vegetables and different kinds of meat. And then we got different sauces that anyone in the family could put the different kind of sauce on that they wanted. And it's a really healthy, yummy snack, even not just for lunches, but an after school snack. Anyways, it was really fun to do with Taylor, and we were so excited because we want to get healthier and we want to make healthier choices, and it felt really empowering to have some planning done. And this week also I did a juice cleanse. I haven't done something like that in a long time, but I just felt like I was at the point where my body needed to reset and kind of pause. And it's been really good. I just did a little 3-day juicing. I am excited to start eating really healthy again and just continue to get my body as healthy as I can. And these simple steps I took between the meal prepping and the juicing this week, it made a difference. And I know it's because small shifts lead to big changes. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Taking care of yourself doesn't have to be overwhelming. Maybe for you, it's not meal prep. Maybe it's drinking an extra glass of water or going to bed 30 minutes earlier, taking 5 deep breaths before reacting to stress. Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you or getting outside for 5 minutes of fresh air. Remember, healing isn't about perfection. It's about making small choices that add up over time. And one thing that I'm committing to myself with is to add a lot more nutrition to my day, to add that extra smoothie, to make sure that my body is getting the fuel that it needs, especially as I am getting back to training for the half marathon I'm doing this summer. I need to fuel my body. It's important. And even though as a busy mom, I also work full time, there doesn't always seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. I just know that the little things I do to make my life a little easier certainly help my whole entire week. And speaking of small moments that matter, I have been noticing the sunsets a lot. And I even made a post on my social media about sunsets. Sunsets have become really meaningful to me because they remind me of something important. There was a time when I didn't even notice the sunsets. I wasn't leaving my house to notice the sunsets. I was too deep in my struggles, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I was just trying to survive. But now, I pause. And tonight, my family went for a walk, and I was so happy that it was still light out in the evening. That means spring is coming. Yay! I'm so excited for the warm weather. And here's what I've learned. Even after the longest, hardest days, the sun still sets beautifully, and it will rise again. Wherever you are in your journey, I want you to remember this. You don't have to do everything today. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just take the next step. One small shift, one small moment of gratitude, one small act of self-care, that's enough. And even with all the things I have to do, even this podcast, some episodes may be really long and some may be really short because that's the energy that I have for the day. And it's okay. I don't have any expectations of how this is supposed to be because this is just my life. Now, I want to go back to talk about the Energy Healing Conference again for a second because there were a few powerful moments that I haven't quite shared. One of the biggest takeaways for me was how healing is not one size fits all. And I know this, but there were so many people from so many different backgrounds, whether they had a healing modality or if they were the ones that were struggling. And yet we're all talking about the same core message. Healing happens in layers. Small shifts create momentum. And we have more power than we think over our own well-being. It was interesting. I was able to be one of the speakers at the event. And at the end, one girl asked me if I thought there was competition in the healing industry. And I said, well, certainly, I guess there's competition with some people, but I don't look at it like that. When I went and I networked with these different people that had different skills that I had, if someone's working with me and maybe they're hitting a plateau or we're not vibing, I will certainly refer them to someone else that I know that has either a different modality or a different personality. I feel like the biggest thing here is to help each other heal and help each other grow. And I know if I pass someone to a different person to work with, that the people that need me will find me. So I don't really look at that kind of thing as competition. I just feel like we are guided and drawn to certain types of people, and there are certain types of people that we don't vibe with, and that's okay. And I had so many conversations with people at my booth who would come up to me and tell me, I've tried everything, but I still feel stuck. And that hit me hard because I have been there. And if you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but still feel stuck, you are not alone. Sometimes the shift we need isn't in our actions, it's in our beliefs about ourselves and what's possible. And that brings me to something I really want to dive into today. I know I've said it, but it's those small shifts create real change, and how rewiring our beliefs can be just as important as what we do physically. And I remember when people would say things like this to me when I was not feeling good, it would kind of bug me because I felt like I was doing everything I possibly could do. But the thing is I really didn't have the tools to rewire those subconscious beliefs, but now I do. So I want to share a personal story from one of the hardest times in my life. Years ago, when I was in the thick of dealing with chronic illness and depression, I was stuck in this cycle of survival mode. I woke up every day just trying to get through it, waiting for something outside of me to change, whether it was a doctor, a new treatment, or just some kind of relief. I needed anything to help me find relief. But as I continued on my journey and found tools that helped me shift my entire perspective, I realized that healing is something that you create. If I could just choose to feel better, I would. But as I've learned these tools about hypnosis and Psych-K and these different ways to shift our subconscious beliefs, I know that those things have made a huge difference in my life. It can be as simple as, instead of waking up and saying, I feel awful today, what if we changed it to say, what's one thing I can do today that will make me feel a little better? Or instead of thinking, my body is broken, what if we said, my body is healing in ways I don't fully understand yet? Or instead of believing that nothing is working, why not look for evidence of progress, even if it was small? Those are not easy things to do, and I know that it's deeper than just saying those things. But when we are aware, when we are consciously aware of what we are saying to ourselves, that's the first step in making those changes. And then you may need hypnosis or Psych-K, or there's so many different modalities out there. Go try some and see how you can start shifting those deep core beliefs in your subconscious so that when you do feel these positive words, that they do make a difference. And for me, these changes didn't happen overnight, but each tiny shift in my thoughts and the work that I've been doing on myself, with myself, and with other facilitators, it did lead to changes in my actions. And over time, all of it led to real, measurable healing. And for the most part, I feel really good. And it's amazing. Now, one of the reasons I became so passionate about hypnotherapy and subconscious shifts is because I do realize how deeply our beliefs shape our reality. But it's deeper than just saying the positive words. If your subconscious mind believes I'm always going to struggle, or healing is impossible for me, or I'm not worthy of feeling better, then guess what? Your body, your emotions, and even your behaviors will align with that belief. And I heard that all the time. And it was really frustrating to me because I would ask people, well, how do I do that? It had to be deeper than just believing it. The good news is you can rewire those beliefs. And here's a really simple tool that can help you to redirect your thoughts. So take a moment just to pause. Take a deep breath in. And slowly let it out. Now, I want you to think about one thing in your life that feels overwhelming right now. It could be something about your health, your emotions, your to-do list, or just whatever's going on in your day, whatever comes up. Now ask yourself, what is one small shift I can make today that will move me in a better direction? Here's some examples. Maybe it's speaking kindly to yourself, drinking a glass of water, letting yourself rest without guilt, or releasing the need to be perfect. Now take another deep breath in. Hold it and let it out. That's it. That's how small shifts start. Connect with your breath, connect with your thoughts, breathe in, breathe out, and pause for a moment. The more you practice this, the more your mind may start to automatically look for solutions instead of focusing on what's wrong. And that's powerful. Now, how do you keep going when you're not seeing results? One question I get asked a lot is, what if I'm making small shifts, but I don't see any big changes yet, or even small changes yet? But my answer is don't stop. Healing, progress, transformation, they all take time. Imagine you're filling a jar with tiny drops of water. At first, it doesn't look like anything is happening. But if you keep going, eventually the jar overflows. I've had so many moments where I felt like nothing was changing. But when I looked back 6 months later, I realized I was in a completely different place, and I wouldn't have made those changes had I not continued forward, trying new things. So if you're in that waiting season, keep showing up for yourself. Keep making the small shifts because I promise they add up. So my challenge to you this week is, what's one small shift you're making to take care of yourself? Maybe it's something simple like stretching in the morning, setting boundaries with your time, or choosing to rest without guilt. Whatever it is, I'd love to know. Send me a message, comment on my latest post, or share it with someone who might need this reminder today. You're not alone. There is a whole community of beautiful warriors walking this path with you. Until next time, keep going, beautiful warriors. Your light is coming.